Hello, how is it going, everybody? Let me make sure we're not lagging. Give me 1 second, and I'll get the text up on screen too. There we go. Let's see. Oh. I think we're good, actually. All right, let's get the text up. There we go. All right. All right. So today we're finishing off Jeremiah chapter 51 and 52. I took a little sneak peek of the subheadings, and it looks like we're going to see the completion, the utter destruction of Babylon. And then we're going to get a recap of the destruction of Jerusalem. So let's start off with the destruction of Babylon. Jeremiah chapter 51. Let's get this volume up. There we go. We're good there. All right, let's get started.
Thus says the Lord, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon, against those who dwell in Lebkamai, a destroying wind, and I will send winnowers to Babylon, who shall winnow her and empty her land. For in...
What are winnows? I thought, isn't a winnow a bird? I have no clue. My Bible doesn't say. Let me look it up. A winnow. There's 2 N's. Winnowing is a process by which chaff is separated from grain. It can also be used to remove pests from stored grain. Winnowing usually follows threshing in grain preparation. In its simplest form, it involves throwing the mixture in the air so that the wind blows away the lighter chaff, while the heavier grain falls back down for recovery. So I will send winnowers to Babylon, who shall winnow her and empty her land. So all the chaff will be blown away. That's why it also says a destroying wind. Okay, so that makes perfect sense.
In the day of doom they shall be against her all around. Against her let the archer bend his bow, and lift himself up against her in his armor. Do not spare her young men. Utterly destroy all her army. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and those thrust through in her streets. For Israel is not forsaken, nor Judah, by his God, the Lord of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee from the midst of Babylon, and everyone save his life. Do not be cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He shall recompense her. Babylon was a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunk. The nations drank her wine. Therefore the nations are deranged. Babylon has suddenly fallen and been destroyed. Wail for her.
Yeah, that must have sent echoes throughout all the world, having a nation so great as Babylon just being destroyed like that.
Take balm for her pain. Perhaps she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go, everyone, to his own country. For her judgment reaches to heaven and is lifted up to the skies. The Lord has revealed our righteousness. Come, and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Make the arrows bright, gather the shields. The Lord has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his plan is against Babylon to destroy it. Because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance for his temple.
And we can also, you guys know the story with the statue. What's the... How do you spell his name? Nebuchadnezzar? I don't know how to spell his name. right? Where the end of the Babylonian Empire is at hand, right? And the Medo-Persian Empire is coming in after, with Cyrus, who's going to come in, completely wipe out Babylon and free the Israel the captives and send them back to Israel, and they'll rebuild Jerusalem. So we're in this period right here, this in between period of when this destruction is going to occur.
Set up the standard on the walls of Babylon. Make the guard strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. For the Lord has both devised and done what he spoke against the inhabitants of Babylon. O you who dwell by many waters, abundant in treasures, your end has come, the measure of your covetousness. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself.
Surely I will fill you with men as with locusts, and they shall lift up a shout against you.
So again, another form of imagery for the amount of people, right? We talked about a flood from the north, right? It's an overwhelming force that's coming to flood the entire area and completely wipe it all out. Now we have locusts, right? It's a huge multitude of people.
As with locusts, and they shall lift up a shout against you.
He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom, and stretched out the heaven by his understanding. When he utters his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens. He causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He makes lightnings for the rain. He brings the wind out of his treasuries. Everyone is dull-hearted without knowledge. Every metalsmith is put to shame by the carved image. For his molded image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are futile, a work of errors. In the time of their punishment they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them. For he is the maker of all things, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name.
You are my battle axe and weapons of war. For with you I will break the nation in pieces. With you I will destroy kingdoms. With you I will break in pieces the horse and its rider. With you I will break in pieces the chariot and its rider. With you also I will break in pieces man and woman. With you I will break in pieces old and young. With you I will break in pieces the young man and the maiden. With you also I will break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. With you I will break in pieces the farmer and his yoke of oxen. And with you I will break in pieces governors and rulers. And I will repay Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea for all the evil they have done in Zion, in your sight. Behold,
But I'm confused here, right? Why are we... God is using Israel for that? In the time of their punishment they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them. For he is the maker of all things. And Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. You are my battle axe, weapons, blah, blah, blah. And God's going to use whoever this you is, which sounds like Israel, to destroy kingdoms. But it sounds like he's going to destroy Babylon with Israel when it was the Medes and the Persians under Cyrus. Let me look up a commentary. Jeremiah 51 commentary. Okay. The portion of Jacob is not like them. He is the maker of all things. The work of the metalsmith is powerless. Yahweh is the maker of all things. The Creator and little Israel are everything to one another. The Creator as Israel's portion and Israel as his inheritance. The portion of Jacob. In human affairs, a man's portion was the inheritance he received from his father. It was his by legal and moral right. So Yahweh was peculiarly the proper inheritance of Israel. Israel had Yahweh as her very own possession, her portion. You are my battle axe and weapons of war. The God whose power was evident in creation also shows his power and wisdom and understanding in his work of judgment, using poetic repletion. Repletion or repetition? God called upon... What does repletion mean? I'm curious now. The condition of being fully supplied or completely filled. I'm guessing that's supposed to be repetition. I don't know. God called upon the peoples that would come against Babylon to do his work of judgment. God called upon the peoples that would come against Babylon to do his work of judgment. So he's not necessarily calling upon the Israelites. He's calling upon the people that will do his work and his judgment. So that would be Cyrus's army. I'm not sure, but we were just talking about Israel, the portion of Jacob, and all that up there. So everything here stresses the indiscriminate ruin that an aggressor spreads around him, whatever his military objectives. Yet God is using this cruel instrument before he breaks it. Since Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 23 describes Babylon as the hammer of the whole earth, it seems best to refer this section to her also. But because of her sin, especially against the Lord's people, she would incur his implacable judgment. 10 times the phrase, with you, falls like hammer blows. Break, the Hebrew verb nipes, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, indicates a violent and intensive shattering. I will repay Babylon. The judgment was to come upon Chaldea, not only for their general sins, but specifically for all the evil they have done in Zion. What do you guys... it's obviously, it has to be talking about Cyrus, but I don't know why it sort of seems like it's talking about Israel being the battle axe and weapon of war.
In the time of their punishment they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the maker of all things, and Israel is the tribe of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name.
You are my battle axe and weapons of war, for with you I will break the nation in pieces. With you I will destroy kingdoms. With you I will break in pieces the horse and its rider. With you I will break in pieces the chariot and its rider. With you also I will break in pieces man and woman. With you I will break in pieces old and young. With you I will break in pieces the young man and the maiden. With you also I will break in pieces the shepherd and his flock. With you I will break in pieces the farmer and his yoke of oxen, and with you I will break in pieces governors and rulers. And I will repay Babylon and all the inhabitants of Chaldea for all the evil they have done in Zion, in your sight. Behold, I am against you, O destroying mountain, who destroys all the earth. And I will stretch out my hand against you, roll you down from the rocks, and make you a burnt mountain. They shall not take from you a stone for a corner, nor a stone for a foundation, but you shall be desolate forever. Set up a banner in the land.
Blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare the nations against her. Call the kingdoms together against her. Ararat, Minai, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a general against her.
Oh.
Cause the horses to come up.
So we have multiple nations coming up against Babylon. Let's see this. 51:27. Let's see if my Bible has anything to say about this. Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz were mountain tribes from what is today eastern Turkey and Armenia. The Medes were from the Zagros mountain region in the present day central Iran. Okay, but so the Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz, those mountain tribes were going to go up against Babylon. Is that what it's saying? Three groups are specified, all of which were to be found in the area present-day Armenia. Each is known in Assyrian cuneiform texts. Prepare the nations against her. Hebrew, sanctify, call them together to wage this sacred war against Babylon. Call the kingdoms together against her. When Babylon fell to the Medes and Persians, it was by a confederation of nations. This will also be true in the ultimate destruction of Babylon as described in Revelation 17 and 18. Oh, so when Babylon fell to the Medes and the Persians, it was by a confederation of nations. So even though it fell to the Medes and the Persians, it was a joint effort by multiple kingdoms. And it looks like we'll get into this when we get into Revelation. But that's interesting. The three kingdoms of Jeremiah 51:27, all within Armenia, were part of the empire of the Medes. Okay, there we go. Which spread in a great arc to the north of Babylon's dominions. These three are called to aid the Medes against Babylon. Okay, there we go. That makes sense.
Against her. Call the kingdoms together against her. Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a general against her. Cause the horses to come up like the bristling locusts. Prepare against her the nations, with the kings of the Medes, its governors, and all its rulers, all the land of his dominion. And the land will tremble and sorrow. For every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have ceased fighting. They have remained in their strongholds. Their might has failed. They became like women. They have burned her dwelling places. The bars of her gate are broken. One runner will run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken on all sides. The passages are blocked. The reeds they have burned with fire, and the men of war are terrified. For thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel,
The daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor when it is time to thresh her. Yet a little while, and the time of her harvest will come.
Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, has devoured me. He has crushed me. He has made me an empty vessel. He has swallowed me up like a monster. He has filled his stomach with my delicacies. He has spit me out. Let the violence done to me and my flesh be upon Babylon, the inhabitant of Zion will say. And my blood be upon the inhabitants of Chaldea, Jerusalem will say. Therefore, thus says the Lord,
Behold, I will plead your case and take vengeance for you. I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. Babylon shall become a heap, a dwelling place for jackals, an astonishment
and ostriches,
and a hissing without an inhabitant.
We saw that yesterday.
They shall roar together like lions. They shall growl like lions' whelps. In their excitement I will prepare their feasts. I will make them drunk, that they may rejoice, and sleep a perpetual sleep, and not awake. I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with male goats. Oh, how Shishak is taken! Oh, how the praise of the whole earth is seized, how Babylon has become desolate among the nations. The sea has come up over Babylon. She is covered with the multitude of its waves. Her cities are a desolation, a dry land and a wilderness, a land where no one dwells, through which no son of man passes. I will punish Bel in Babylon, and I will bring out of his mouth what he has swallowed, and the nations shall not stream to him any more. Yes, the wall of Babylon shall fall. My people, go out of the midst of her, and let everyone deliver himself from the fierce anger of the Lord. And lest your heart faint, and you fear for the rumor that will be heard in the land, a rumor will come 1 year, and after that in another year a rumor will come, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, the days are come.
And lest your heart faint, and you fear for the rumor that will be heard in the land. A rumor will come 1 year, and after that in another year a rumor will come. And violence in the land, ruler against ruler. So rumors of wars. So people are going to be so scared. They're hearing rumors, passing down rumors. 51:46. The release of Israel from captivity is foreseen. The people would be called upon to flee the city because of its impending destruction. In Jeremiah, the expression "days are coming" usually introduces a message of divine intervention into history. Carved images. Babylon was known for its thousands of images of its numerous gods and goddesses. As the king claimed to conquer nations in the name of his patron deity, so the gods of the defeated would be punished along with their worshippers. The devastation of decadent Babylon would be no cause for mourning among the nations. Instead, the nations would sing joyfully of Babylon's fall. Well, nothing to what I was asking about. Let's look it up. 51:46. Yeah, no one is talking about that. So it's saying, my people, go out of the midst of her and let everyone deliver himself from the fierce anger of the Lord. So get out of there. I'm going to destroy this place. Get out. And lest your heart faint, and you fear for the rumor that will be heard in the land. A rumor will come 1 year, and after that, in another year, a rumor will come. So there's going to be rumor, there's going to be, fear is going to be building up in the land for years. And people are just going to be scared. And a rumor will come, and violence in the land, ruler against ruler. So rumors of violence and all these things are going to be happening. People are going to be scared, and it's going to spread to the point where the rulers are going to be fighting with each other. Therefore, behold, the days are coming that I will bring judgment on the carved images of Babylon. Her whole land shall be ashamed, and all her slain shall fall in her midst. So it's going to be destroyed from within, on top of being destroyed from the north. Then the heavens and earth and all that is in them shall sing joyously over Babylon, for the plunderers shall come to her from the north. So they're going to weaken themselves. That's why God said He's going to deliver them like a lamb, right? He's going to weaken them from within through fear, with all these rumors. There's going to be infighting, and then from the north, the plunderers shall come and take care of the rest. That's what I'm getting from this. What do you guys think?
Coming that I will bring judgment on the carved images of Babylon. Her whole land shall be ashamed, and all her slain shall fall in her midst. Then the heavens and the earth and all that is in them shall sing joyously over Babylon, for the plunderers shall come to her from the north. As Babylon has caused the slain of Israel to fall, so at Babylon the slain of all the earth shall fall.
You who have escaped the sword, get away. Do not stand still. Remember the Lord afar off, and let Jerusalem come to your mind. We are ashamed because we have heard reproach. Shame has covered our faces, for strangers have come into the sanctuaries of the Lord's house. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, says the Lord,
that I will bring judgment on her carved images, and throughout all her land the wounded shall groan. Though Babylon were to mount up to heaven, and though she were to fortify the height of her strength, yet from me plunderers would come to her.
The sound of a cry comes from Babylon, and great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans, because the Lord is plundering Babylon and silencing her loud voice. Though her waves roar like great waters, and the noise of their voice is uttered, because the plunderer comes against her, against Babylon, and her mighty men are taken. Every one of their bows is broken, for the Lord is the God of recompense. He will surely repay.
And I will make drunk her princes and wise men, her governors, her deputies, and her mighty men. And they shall sleep a perpetual sleep, and not awake.
Says the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. Thus says the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire. The people will labor in vain, and the nations because of the fire, and they shall be weary.
The word which Jeremiah the prophet commanded Seraiah, the son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, when he went with Zedekiah the king of Judah to Babylon, in the 4th year of his reign. And Seraiah was the quartermaster. So Jeremiah wrote in a book all the evil that would come upon Babylon, all these words that are written against Babylon.
Warning them so they can change their ways.
And Jeremiah
beforehand.
said to Seraiah,
When you arrive in Babylon and see it and read all these words, then you shall say, O Lord, you have spoken against this place to cut it off, so that none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast, but it shall be desolate forever. Now it shall be, when you have finished reading this book, that you shall tie a stone to it, and throw it out into the Euphrates. Then you shall say, Thus Babylon shall sink, and not rise from the catastrophe that I will bring upon her, and they shall be weary.
Thus far are the words of Jeremiah.
What is the point of that? I mean, I get the symbolism, but why do that? Jeremiah told Seraiah to literally take the scroll, weigh it with a stone, and then throw it in the Euphrates as a graphic illustration of the catastrophe of judgment that would soon sink Babylon. Seraiah's symbolic act was a visual enactment of the fall of Babylon. It is remarkable that at the very time Jeremiah was advising submission to that city, he was also foretelling her final overthrow. The scroll never surfaced. Like the Babylonian Empire, it stayed submerged. The symbolic act would be repeated still more impressively in John's vision of the Babylon of the apocalypse. Then a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and threw it into the sea. So it's on a grander scale, saying, So shall Babylon, that great city, be thrown down with violence and shall be found no more. Ceremonies are too little purpose unless they have divine expositions annexed unto them. So if you're looking at it as just a ceremony, like what's the point in it? Well, it's got a deeper meaning. It's got a symbolic meaning. That really, yeah, I guess just to emphasize the impact of what was about to happen.
Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. He also did evil in the sight of the Lord, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For because of the anger of the Lord, this happened in Jerusalem and Judah, till he finally cast them out from his presence. Then Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. Now it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, on the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army came against Jerusalem, and encamped against it, and they built a siege wall against it all around. So the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. By the 4th month, on the 9th day of the month, the famine had become so severe in the city that there was no food for the people of the land. Then the city wall was broken through, and all the men of war fled and went out of the city at night by way of the gate between the two walls, which was by the king's garden, even though the Chaldeans were near the city all around. And they went by way of the plain. But the army of the Chaldeans pursued the king, and they overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. All his army was scattered from him. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon at Riblah, in the land of Hamath, and he pronounced judgment on him. Then the king of Babylon killed the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes.
Dang.
And he killed all the princes of Judah in Riblah. He also put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and the king of Babylon bound him in bronze fetters, took him to Babylon, and put him in prison.
Like we're going over, it's like a review. We've seen this destruction, this judgment, this destruction of Jerusalem so much, but looks like we're getting more specific instances here. A lot more detailed, specific instances. This is cool.
Till the day of his death. Now, in the 5th month, on the 10th day of the month, which was the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard who served the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. He burned the house of the Lord and the king's house, all the houses of Jerusalem, that is, all the houses of the great, he burned with fire. And all the army of the Chaldeans, who were with the captain of the guard, broke down all the walls of Jerusalem all around. Then Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive some of the poor people, the rest of the people who remained in the city, the defectors who had deserted to the king of Babylon, and the rest of the craftsmen. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left some of the poor of the land as vine dressers and farmers. The bronze pillars that were in the house of the Lord, and the carts and the bronze sea that were in the house of the Lord, the Chaldeans broke in pieces, and carried all their bronze to Babylon. They also took away the pots, the shovels, the trimmers, the bowls, the spoons, and all the bronze utensils with which the priests ministered. The basins, the fire pans, the bowls, the pots, the lampstands, the spoons and the cups, whatever was solid gold and whatever was solid silver, the captain of the guard took away. The 2 pillars, 1 sea, the 12 bronze bulls which were under it, and the carts which King Solomon had made for the house of the Lord, the bronze of all these articles was beyond measure. Now, concerning the pillars, the height of 1 pillar was 18 cubits. A measuring line of 12 cubits could measure its circumference, and its thickness was 4 fingers. It was hollow. A capital of bronze was on it, and the height of one capital was 5 cubits, with a network and pomegranates all around the capital.
This is interesting also because we got a lot of this information when we were talking about the building of the temple, but I don't remember it specifying this much detail, right? A measuring line of 12 cubits could measure its circumference, and its thickness was 4 fingers, and it was hollow. I don't remember that level of detail. So that's cool that it's included here.
All of bronze. The second pillar, with pomegranates, was the same. There were 96 pomegranates on the sides. All the pomegranates, all around on the network, were 100. The captain of the guard took Seraiah the chief priest, Zephaniah the second priest, and the 3 doorkeepers. He also took out of the city an officer who had charge of the men of war, 7 men of the king's close associates who were found in the city, the principal scribe of the army who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land who were found in the midst of the city. And Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took these and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. Then the king of Babylon struck them and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. Thus Judah was carried away captive from its own land. These are the people whom Nebuchadnezzar carried away captive. In the 7th year, 3,023 Jews. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, he carried away captive from Jerusalem 832 persons. In the 23rd year of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive of the Jews 745 persons.
So it was a continual
All the persons
taking of people,
were 4,600.
not just at once.
Now it came to pass in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 25th day of the month, that evil Merodach, king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, lifted up the head of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and brought him out of prison. And he spoke kindly to him, and gave him a more prominent seat than those of the kings who were with him in Babylon.
Oh, interesting.
So Jehoiakim changed from his prison garments, and he ate bread regularly before the king all the days of his life. And as for his provisions, there was a regular ration given him by the king of Babylon, a portion for each day until the day of his death, all the days of his life.
Let me look this up here. Jeremiah 52. So in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, this King Jehoiakim was not the last king of Judah. Zedekiah came after him, but he was taken away to Babylon in bronze fetters. This happened when Jehoiakim had been a captive for many years, 37 years in prison, and so long a sentence for a reign of 3 months. This describes spoke kindly to him and gave him a more prominent seat. This describes small kindness and blessings given in the worst circumstances. Judah was still depopulated. The people of God were still exiled, and the king of Judah was still a prisoner in Babylon. Yet, looking for even small notes of grace and mercy as evidences of the returning favor of God, the divine historian noted that King Jehoiakim began to receive better treatment in Babylon. This phrase here, lifted up the heads of Jehoiakim of Judah, is taken from Genesis 40:13. It is found on the observation that those who are in sorrow hold down their heads, when they are comforted or the cause of their sorrow removed, they lift up their heads. The Hebrew phrase "lift up the head" signifies to comfort, cheer, and make happy. So Jehoiakim came after Zedekiah. Let's see my Bible, if it says anything. Jehoiakim was released from prison soon after Nebuchadnezzar died in 562 BC. Nebuchadnezzar's son, evil Merodach, became king but reigned only 2 years. Lifted up the head of Jehoiakim was so that means Jehoiakim was pardoned by the king of Babylon. Jehoiakim was provided food and given a seat of honor in Babylon. This restoration was symbolic of the future restoration of Israel and Judah to their homeland. But it's saying King Jehoiakim was not the last king of Judah. Zedekiah came after him, but he was taken away to Babylon. Let's read this. At that time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came against the city, and the servants were besieging it. Then Jehoiakim, king of Judah, his mother, his servants, his princes, and his officers went out to the king of Babylon, and the king of Babylon in the 8th year of his reign took him prisoner. Well, it makes sense, right? Because they didn't just come in and leave immediately, right? Where was that? In the 7th year, 3,023 Jews. In the 18th year of Nebuchadnezzar, he carried away captive from Jerusalem 832. 23rd. So we had a lot of time, right? So we could have gone through Kings. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So, and let me read this here. Zedekiah reigned as king of Judah from 598 to 586 BC until God finally cast him out of Jerusalem for doing evil in the sight of the Lord. Let me see if I can find a timeline here. Kings of Judah timeline. So we're talking about right here. They were pretty darn close. So Babylonians sacked Jerusalem and exiled the leaders. That happened right here during the reign of Jehoiakim and Zedekiah. So Jehoiakim, 597 BC. I think it said only 3 months he reigned and he was taken prisoner. And then Zedekiah, 597 to 586. And then we saw what happened to Zedekiah too. Okay. That's it for Jeremiah. We just finished Jeremiah. Tomorrow, we're jumping into Lamentations. So hope you guys enjoyed today's reading. We finally finished the chapter 4 of Judah's, all of Israel's destruction and judgment. And we got to see the judgment of all the surrounding nations, the judgment of Babylon. So we'll jump into Lamentations tomorrow. And we'll see how that goes. So hope you guys enjoyed today's reading. And hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.